Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I have to find my mute button.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Ryan.
Sorry, my mic was off. I forgot. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm a little lonely at the moment.
Yeah, well, we'll keep you company until everybody shows up. You know how these board members, you never can tell what they're going to do.
Do we know if they're in the other link?
I'll open that meeting and see if I can find them.
Yeah, there was a Google Meet and then there was a Zoom. So
I just clicked on the Google and I see that Jacob, Sarah, and Neil are there. I haven't jumped in. Do you want me to go in there?
And tell them to come over here.
Yeah,
somebody,
my apologies. I forgot to click off the Google Meet when I created that.
okay.
Okay, they're coming.
Okay, there we go. So waiting for Neil. Okay, I think, is that everybody? Neil, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 5:06 PM. And we're gonna start off with roll call. Ms. Ariano is not here. Mr. Patel?
Present.
Okay, I'm here. Mr. Andrew Sandoval?
Present.
Okay, Sarah Turner?
Here.
Okay, quorum has been met. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so now we move on to 1.3, approval of the board agenda. There was one thing I did notice for item 11, future meetings. I think you had mentioned February 10th, which is today. So do you know when the following one is, Tim? Is it next week?
It'll be on the 20, it'll be 2 weeks from tonight, 24th.
Okay. And not on the agenda, but on the items, we have 9.2 twice. So those would be the only two changes. So if I can get a motion as amended with the two changes.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda with those changes.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Patel seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Aye. Okay. Okay. Motion passes. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn to closed session?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Mr. Patel, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Patel, did you say aye?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Okay, aye as well. Okay, motion passes. So I'll see everybody in a closed session. I think we're just missing Neil. Is that everybody? I think, Tim, is that everybody, Tim? I think, yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're reconvening back into open session. We didn't vote on anything, but a couple of housekeeping items. Tim Ryan has submitted his resignation, and we're accepting his resignation as superintendent effective June 30th. I personally want to take the time to thank Tim for the last couple of years he's been here at the district. You know, it's been a pleasure in helping us kind of get back on track and make a lot of progress in different stages. And we wish you well in everything you decide to do with your future. And you surely will be missed. And also, we want to take this moment. I'll also let the rest of the board members speak as well, to let the public, the community, and the staff know that we have made an offer for Melissa Elderman to take over as superintendent, pending the negotiation of the terms of the contract. So excited about the potential there with Melissa taking over the reins from a great job that Tim has done as well, and having a smooth, hopefully a smooth transition for the community in our district as well. So if any board members also want to chime in, you know, now's the time as well.
All right, I guess I will. First of all, regarding accepting Tim's resignation, I object. I think I've told Tim that too. I absolutely object. So when this goes down, make sure my name goes off there and saying, oh, hell no, it's not going to happen. It's happening anyway, but I'm just letting you know, Tim. First of all, I want to say, Tim, you know, when I heard the news, it just broke my heart, because what you have done with this district and bringing everyone together has been nothing short than a miracle. You know, because when I came to this district, you know, we had a lot of issues, and we had payroll issues, staff issues, more the morale of the staff issues. I mean, we had a lot of concerns. And when you came in, you know, you helped build a great team of other administrators, both at site level and headquarters. And you created a completely different atmosphere, one of collegial environment where people love to work together. It's not you against me, it's us working together to solve a common problem, you know? And, you know, and as evidence of that is the great rapport we have between our teachers and our classified and admin, you know, is just tremendous. And the amount of outreach we're doing with our parents, you know, has increased greatly. So I don't know how much else to say, but, you know, if I could have kept you on for another 5-10 years, you know me, I would have said, hey, you would have said 10, I would have said 20. Anyway, having said that, you know, I wish you well, and whatever endeavors, you know, you choose. But I know health is an issue just for me as well. And, you know, I can understand personal choices, and, you know, we have to live with your decision. So I understand it and I accept it. Having said that, my concern has always been with this district. The district is not one person. The district is a group of individuals who come together in a common mission, and that is educating our young and taking care of our community. And the team you are leaving is more than sufficient to address those needs. And the fact that we have somebody who has been working underneath your wing, like Melissa Elderman, over the last few years, and especially the trial by fire of having to take on the duties at certain times during this last year, she has really proven herself for me, and I'm sure the rest of the board, as a capable leader who's willing to jump in and address various difficult issues as times arise, you know, and you have proven that. So I just want to let the staff know, the entire community know that, you know, we have a great team. We're hiring from within. We are building a great organization called Santa Rita Union, and we hire from within, we build from within, and we develop from within, from staff, including our parents, to all the other stakeholders, you know. So, you know, this is a major movement. I think we heard it earlier that the biggest change any district can do is the superintendent position, because leadership comes from the top down. And for continuation and to build upon the success that has already been laid upon by the previous great successors that you're succeeding. I just want to say welcome to something you already know. You know, my hope and wish for everyone is that we take whatever growth we have, whatever great achievements, and we take it to the next level. You know, we build success here at Santa Rita. So thank you very much. I just wanted to get that out to the community and to the staff. Long ramble as usual. Diego's over there wants to cut me off. I see you, Diego. Don't you dare put that mute button on me.
Anybody else from the board want to speak before we move forward?
Just want to say thank you to Tim for leadership that A, really helped the district, but B, I felt like you and I had really good talks just about what it means to be a leader and how we do business, and that meant a great deal to me personally. And to Melissa, I'm so excited. I need better adjectives, but they're gone. If I had adjectives earlier in the evening, they're no longer present with us. And then just to the rest of the team, thank you for all that you guys have done. And I hope that you continue to do. No one else is to think that this means that anybody else can leave. Like everybody else needs to stay where they are. So don't get any ideas. But thank you guys for all that you've done and all that I know that you're going to continue to do for the kids.
You know, I know where they live. I'll camp outside their house.
Mr. Patel,
I have rights.
Mr. Patel, your time is over. No, I'm just kidding. No, I also want to say, you know, when I first met Tim, I think maybe 2 years ago, and I think he's been, prior to me becoming a board member, one of the most receptive superintendents and open to communication. And I know he's created a great team. And when I've had an opportunity to meet or talk with teachers or you know, members of CSCA or other staff members, they really admire the family that the Santa Rita School District has. And so I appreciate you for that. And you really caught me off guard. I'm like, is this guy a superintendent? He seems a little too friendly and willing and able. And you know, just, I appreciate you for that. And for Melissa, I'm excited. I'm a new board member here, but I'm excited at your approach to things. I'm excited that, you know, at your leadership, and I'm excited to see how Santa Rita can continue to grow. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. If there's nothing else, anybody else want to talk? No. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the business items now. Item 2.0, approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, so motions, can I get a second?
Second.
Second, it's okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Aye.
Aye, okay, aye as well. Okay, 4-0, motion passes. Move on to 3.0, reports, information. Start off with, is there anything from SRTA? Nicole, from them?
Yes, I have a comment from SRTA. Good evening, board trustees. Teachers and staff are appreciative of the district being proactive about vaccinations. We are eager to return to work in safe conditions, and vaccines are just one step in that direction. Today, SRTA met to go over the TA that was reached between us and the district. We were looking forward to hearing the results of the past 14 months of negotiations. We will be voting on the contract this week, and we'll have results soon. Our upper grade teachers are preparing for the upcoming state testing. We are awaiting to hear what a modified version will look like. It is beginning to look like spring, and keeping students in school mode has become a challenge. Therefore, we are all looking forward to this much needed 4-day weekend. Elva continues to be in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you for all you do. Heather Varela, SRTA Vice President.
Thank you, Nicole. Anything from CSEA?
Nothing from CSEA.
Okay. And we don't have anything for the principal spotlight. So now we go to the superintendent's cabinet. We'll start off with nutritional services.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just a couple of quick items. The food bank, we have two things on the food bank, actually. One is that they reached out late last week on possibly getting diapers for our community and families. So I'm working on that. We don't have a count of how many we're going to be able to get, and I don't think we're going to add it to the actual food bank distribution because we'd probably run out too quick. We wouldn't have enough, and I want to concentrate on our families. So I requested a certain amount, and we'll distribute them to the school district or the schools, the sites that need them the most. And then the other thing is the CHP was called again at Bolsa Knolls. I went out and spoke with the two officers there and had a nice conversation with them. While it was a nice conversation, the three of us couldn't come up with a way to combat the traffic. At this point, it kind of is what it is. They're going to take it back to their supervisors, let them know that we spoke. It may become a safety issue, and we may have to rethink distributing at Bolsa Knolls at all. The other thing is meal service. Although we were closed on Friday and Monday, I still want to get our staff that 4-day weekend that they well deserve, but we're going to hand out meals tomorrow for Thursday, Friday, and Monday. So we'll still get all that food out for all 3 of the days, taking care of those families and taking care of our staff as well. And then in the upcoming months, probably on the next board meeting, you'll see some surplus items from the food service department, just old outdated equipment that's just taking up space. And then beyond that, a couple meetings later, we'll have some vendor approvals for next school year, just housekeeping stuff with getting contracts approved and so forth. And that's it for me.
Any questions for Chuck or comments?
Just thank you for all you're doing under hard circumstances. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Chuck, I have one question for you regarding Bolsa Knolls. It's a traffic issue, correct? I mean, is it just getting backed way up?
Yeah, I think when they came out, I didn't drive it yesterday, but when they came out yesterday, the line was pretty much to Natividad.
Is there any way to look at additional sites that are near BK that we could maybe transfer it to? I mean, I'm sure Rancho San Juan wouldn't have made a difference, right? Because you're still occupying the same, or is it maybe the Salinas Valley Community Church? I'm just trying to think a little bit out. We need it in that area. I'm just wondering, is there an alternate site that might, be more conducive?
Well, I can talk to the food bank. They were previously doing the distribution at the church here next to us at MOT. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. If they are not, maybe we could move it to there on a regular basis. That didn't seem to be as much of an issue with traffic. Either way, in this area, you got those 2-lane roads, San Juan Grade and Rogie Road, and that really becomes the issue. People are you can't move over enough to really get out of the lane. So then the people that aren't going to the food bank distribution have to get in the other lane in order to get by them. So that's the biggest issue. But yeah, I'll work with the food bank, see if we can come up with another solution. Rancho San Juan would be the same issue. La Jolla would be the same issue. We kind of talked about moving it to McKinnon, but then you're going to cause a major issue on Veranda. So maybe the church is definitely an idea. So I'll reach out tomorrow and see what they have. We did move the New Republic one from the main parking lot to the alternate parking lot, and that seems to be working. So they're very flexible and willing to work with us.
Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, move on to maintenance operations.
Well, good afternoon or good evening. I'm happy to say that we came up with a couple of nice plans for the GV kitchen, and we're going to have a facilities committee meeting on Tuesday, which both of the plans that we're offering, phase 1 and phase 2, are within our budget, and it seems like it's very doable. So once we get the approvals from everybody or buy-in from everybody, I think we'll be able to go to DSA right away and possibly start, construction May So I'm hoping that, we could possibly have this open and ready for use in September. So that's a little aggressive. Don't quote me on that, but I think we're hoping for the best on that. One of the projects that we were doing at GV also was the fire alarm for the addition of rooms 40 through 42. That is now complete. It's working. It's actually, we're in compliance. DSA has approved us. The state inspector gave us the go-ahead to go ahead and occupy those rooms. So that's really good for me. And, it's something that I've been trying to deal with for a while. We have started on the parent resource center. The restroom there, it's framed up now. So it's starting to attract interest. Teachers are coming by and going, hey, what's going on? They're really excited. And I think everybody is pretty happy about that. With maintenance, we're continuing to do work orders and try to pluck away at some of the problems that we've had in the past. But other than that, custodial, they're doing great. A lot of my custodians right now are taking advantage of going out on vacation and using up their vacation time. The grounds, I'm kind of in a skeleton crew with grounds right now. I just want to throw out cheers for Steve. He's his daughter's having the second grandkid, so I'm glad for him. Security, we've been really looking at security seriously, solely because, as you know, we had the theft on January 15th, and then we had the second theft on February 1st. So they're breaching through the church, and I've been working with Tim over there on having the church, the two front gates kind of closed off during the night, so they don't have any clear access. So other than that, that's pretty much it. That's what I've got.
Okay, I have a question. I'm not sure how the construction. Would it be possible? And I'll bring it up to Tim. I'll reach out to you as well, as far as at least for myself, and I'm not sure the board members actually to kind of walk through, I guess, how the family resource center is going to be set up, just to kind of see how that's going as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to walk you through it and just kind of show you what we're doing. It's going to have a real nice curb appeal, solely because we're adding a door on the front, so it's going to be kind of a double entryway. And yeah, whenever you want to, just give me a call. I'll be around.
Okay, awesome.
Just not Friday or Monday.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Victor.
All righty.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you, Victor. Moving on to CBO.
Good evening, everyone. So in my business department, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Melissa. I'm sorry, I'm still processing everything of what just happened right now. Congratulations, Melissa. I'm looking forward to work with you, and I'm very excited on your new position. With that being said, let's go ahead and move to the business department now. So right now, what we're working on, what we just finalized actually is the audit report. Usually we have the audit report finalized in December, but because of COVID-19 this year, they give an extension to all the districts in California to finalize the audit report through March. So we just finalized that the last week. You're gonna get a report from our auditor on the next board meeting. We got 3 audit findings. The first one was for ASB. This is a very usual audit findings that I'm very used to see when I used to work at MCOE. We used to have almost most of the districts having audit findings on ASB, and this is when the parents or volunteers do fundraising at the different school sites, and they have to follow the ed code and cash control, checks and balances. So because we have volunteers helping out, there's always something off, or the amounts don't match, or they didn't follow the ed codes. So that's a very usual audit finding that it's very common to have on the districts. That's one. The second audit finding, it's not very usual. It's for the instructional minutes, and this was when the auditor was able to compare our bell schedule and the the bell schedule on the school calendar with one of our school sites, there was a difference on it. It looks like on that specific school site, they were missing 5 minutes. And because of those 5 minutes, because we have a minimum requirement for the instructional minutes, we can get penalized. So the estimated cost, it's $23,000 that we can lose. Right now, this year, because of COVID-19, they're approving waivers because they're not really penalizing the districts if the students were not present in the classroom. So we have the opportunity to apply for a waiver and see if they can waive that penalty. But that was the second audit finding, and we worked through that with the principals. I know Melissa worked with the principals. They have a meeting and they explain all of that. And going forward, we're going to have a form where the principals are going to be signing off on the bell schedule, stating that they're not going to make any changes without having the district approval. And the last finding, it was a payroll finding. And this was due to a stipend that was provided to an employee that didn't qualify for the stipend. And this was done at the position control. Sometimes what in the past or last year, when this employee changed from one position to another one, they forgot to remove that stipend. So it was an oversight from the district. What we're doing now to prevent that issue is that we're working with HR. We're having weekly meetings to make sure that we have checks and balances, and we created a checklist to make sure that we share that with as well with payroll and HR to make sure that everything is aligned and that there's no differences, and that's obviously going to prevent those type of issues. So that's pretty much what you're going to be looking at the next board meeting on the audit report when the auditor presents. But I'm available if you have any questions in regards to that. I provided the plan and the correction action forms to Monterey County Office of Ed. On the bright side, we did receive a check from CARES funding. This was a 75-cent increase on the reimbursements for our cafeteria, for our meal reimbursements in the cafeteria fund. That was for $138,000, which is so helpful right now because, as you know, that's one of the funds that we have a decline in revenue because we have low participation and we get reimbursed based on the claims that we submit. So that's really good. It's going to help out, and you're going to see that on the next budget report, which is the second interim. And talking about that, that's pretty much what I'm working on. I'm working on budget revisions to get ready the second interim report, which is due in March. And you're going to see those revisions. We're also working on the public disclosure with certificated, as you know, the certificated union settled with the district, and there's some costs associated with that. So we're filling out the public disclosure. You're going to see that on the next board meeting. Again, it's a 10-page document. So that's going to go for approval on the next meeting. Something that we're also getting from the county is a push for the increase for minimum reserves. As you know, by Ed Code, the districts are required to do a 3% minimum reserve. Now they're really pushing the districts to increase that 3% because, as you know, 3% is not even enough for 1 month of payroll. So as everybody realizes that, you know, a lot of districts are getting loans and they're going to have to pay interest on those loans. And to prevent that, the state is really pushing forward the county office to push on the districts to make sure that we keep more than the 3% reserves. It's not a requirement now, but they really want the districts to have, they really want to get them to a 17% reserve by the end of 2022, 2023. So that's coming up. It's not an Ed Code requirement right now, but they're really pushing forward for us to keep moving those reserves and hopefully get to the 17%. That's all I have for now. As you can see, I have more on the next board meeting, a lot of items. So if you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
So just to clarify, Rosa, so it kind of sounds like if that's the direction that it might one day be mandatory, is kind of good to kind of, because what can potentially happen is If we don't kind of get ready for that point, we'll have a budget shock. And then if we'll have to cut back on things if we're not close to that reserve requirement. Is that kind of where you're kind of assessing?
Yes, and the main reason for that is because the state is realizing that 3% is not enough, and they're realizing that now with the cash deferrals, right? Because the state doesn't have the money, so they're not giving the money to these districts, and the districts have these commitments to continue to pay on payroll. They don't have enough reserves, so they're going out there and getting loans. That's why they're really pushing for the districts to maintain a high reserve, so that way in the future, if this happens again, they don't have to go out and get loans and get in debt and paying interest and all of that. So it's a good practice, and it's something that hopefully we can get there soon. It's not required, but once I get more information in regards to that, I'll share with everyone.
And then also, if and it's okay if you can't do it by the next meeting, but maybe the following meeting, just kind of see where we lie currently as far as meeting that threshold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the last budget report that we did, the first interim, we were for our unrestricted, we were at 13%. They want us to be at 17%. But it's better than the 3%.
Yeah,
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
What the state is saying is pretty much they're providing the one-time funding for the COVID-19 funds. So they're hoping that if we were able to maybe have some savings from the unrestricted to put it and reserve that with the minimum reserve of the 17%. So they're saying, yeah, we're helping you with the one-time COVID-19 funds, but the district has to do their part and you just have to increase your minimum reserves to a higher, because we're helping you with that it's kind of going that way. But as far as I know right now, it's not required, but we want to make sure that we try our best to get there.
Thank you, Rosa.
Mr. Sandoval, just a quick comment here. I find it very rich that in the state where we're the 40th per capita lowest in funding, that state has the audacity to tell the districts that you need to increase the reserve, yet the money we give you, which barely covers payroll, they want us to cut more than that when they don't give us enough money to begin with. And they're telling us, hey, you better tighten that belt and save for a rainy day of the responsibilities we're supposed to take care of. I find it very rich that to have, our overlords demanding that we do things, yet they control the purses in the first place. So I do understand what you're saying, Mr. Sandoval. I just find this whole conversation kind of amusing.
Neil, real quick, what's even more rich, to use your phrase, is 6 years ago, the governor attached a trailer bill to the budget saying that we had to have a maximum of a 3%. We couldn't keep more than 3%.
You spend it on.
Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, so it's a hoot, but Rosa remembers that, right? When you were at the county office, remember then we had to come up with all these commitments. If we were going to do it, we had to show where the money was going. So yeah, it's even worse than that's just been three. And so all these districts did what they were told, which is they shrunk their budget reserves down, and now they're being told, no, you got to get them back up. So.
Yes, totally agree with both of you. And that's why I'm saying let's be really careful with that. Even though that we have the 13%, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We have expenses. We still have, to pay for all these new expenses that we have due to COVID-19 because of the health issue that now the schools are responsible. So even though they are telling us to do that, can we do it with all these new expenses? We just have to be very careful and try our best, but it's a big request.
Anything else from the rest of the board? No, okay, thank you, Rosa. Moving on to student services.
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. We have a couple things going on. One, I wanted to just share with you that Peer Funding is working with a couple of our TOSAs, at least two of them, maybe more, teachers on special assignment. and they've created a survey that will go to our special education teachers to find out what kind of training or support we can provide to our special education teachers so that they can understand the testing situation for students with disabilities, and making sure they understand the embedded tools, the non-embedded tools, accommodations and modifications, so that when we get to our state testing this year, that our teachers are fully comfortable and understand how to utilize those components for our students with disabilities. So I'm very excited about that. That was part of our special education plan that we put together with SELPA that they've helped us with, that we had a check-in meeting with today. So that's really a positive step in the right direction for us. As our programming has grown for our students with disabilities, we want to make sure that our teachers are supported and they have the training that they need to provide the support that their students will need to move through the state testing. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to gather that information and help our teachers with any areas that they feel that we can shore up for them a little bit. Tomorrow, I'm going to be attending a training in the afternoon for updating and creating plans for expelled students. That falls into my department as well. So a school district has to have a plan for how they will provide services or educate students who have been expelled. I was joking with Melissa this morning that when I first took this job, that plan was due, like literally mid-stride. And I made a joke that if I have to do this again, I've probably stayed in this job too long. And so here I am doing it again. But I'm excited. MCOE is providing us with a training. And I think the template's been updated. So that's really, really good for us, because sometimes we forget about that population. They're, regardless of what we think or the circumstances, they're entitled to education as well. And what will we do as a district to make sure that those students are being served in the capacity of which they are in need? We're working on wanting to get some messages out a little bit stronger on behalf of our SELPA. They're having a lot of parent trainings. They're having some meetings with the community to help parents who have students with disabilities. And although they blast those flyers out and they go to teachers or school psychologists, they have asked for some assistance to even from a director level to maybe encourage or push getting that information out even more. So I gave them my 100% support, of course, if you could make sure that the directors get that information as well. So for example, today we got a nice flyer from Monterey County Behavior Health that's going to be holding some community meetings, information, and we had that information in English and Spanish. I had Nicole help me get that on the website today and or Facebook. Just if we can get it in one main area to start with and then work on branching out. Teachers will still receive that information too, but our SELPA does so much for us, and our collaborative relationship with them is so important that we certainly want to support them as much as possible. And that's all I have for today or for this evening. If anybody's any questions, I certainly can answer them. Or if you have anything later, feel free to contact me.
Any questions from the board or comments?
The only comment that I had, and this is more for the public, just so they know, because Nadine mentioned expelled students, that not that we have a lot of expelled students, but the ones that we do have are usually expulsions that we didn't have any control over, that were, unfortunately, the child did something that it's a state mandated expulsion. So it's not one that we chose. It's something that happened, so that we need to have a plan in place for those children to try to hold them up as best as we can under really negative circumstances.
Thank you, Sarah, for clarifying on that as well.
Yeah, I'm glad at the collaboration. I did see that on our website today, that training happening. I'm going to see if I can jump on that. You know, as you start branching out in communication, it'd be great if you know, we develop, I'm sure maybe we already have, but a database so we can send those notifications directly to the parents. Because I think communicating with them directly would be, you know, the best way for them to take advantage of those resources. So thank you.
Okay, nothing else. Thank you, Nadine. Okay, move on to human resources.
Thank you. So our human resources department today attended MCOE's mid-year credential workshop. That was this morning. And the focus was on CalSAS, which is the new assignment monitoring program that connects teacher credentials through the CTC to their course assignments and make sure that teachers are assigned correctly for the classes that they're teaching. We've been working hard on our credentials and assignments here in the district since I arrived. I think it started actually prior to that with an audit at the beginning of last school year. So there's been some work to do, but we're making great progress. And I really do want to take a moment to thank Nicole for all of her work on the course codes within CalPADS and ARIES, because that was a huge issue for us with the test monitoring that happened for the 1920 school year. We've cleaned up a lot of that, so we're hoping that we're going to have a lot fewer exceptions to work with this year. Melissa sent out an informational email, was it Tuesday, about the vaccines. And within 24 hours of a survey going out, we had more than 50% of our staff respond. And they have said 95% of them that they're ready for the vaccine. So I think that's really good news looking ahead for being able to open once it's safe. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any questions from the board or comments? No? Okay, thank you, Becky. Okay, move on to educational services.
Good evening. We are hard at work getting ready to roll out our LPAC assessment for our English language learners. Our academic coaches and ELTSs at the middle school have been working diligently to get all of our notices out to families about how we're going to do it and the different nuances of administering this test remotely for our students and working with them so that it goes as flawlessly as it possibly can. Other than that, there's 5 scholarships available for staff members and administrators to take advantage of the All In for Equity conference that MCOE is hosting on Friday. And I had about 4 times that many people who wanted to attend. So we're sending 5 on a scholarship and then we'll pay the fee for the others. I wanted as many of our administrators and teachers who wanted to attend that and participate to have the opportunity to do so. I was really excited that so many wanted to join that on a day that they have off from work. So that's our big news.
Thank you, Melissa. Any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, thank you, Melissa. Moving on to board and superintendent. So we'll start off with board reports. Mr. Patel. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. You know, my main thing about our district, and you know, I've been visiting some sites, and you know, I see so many teacher cars out there. You know, I see so many teachers saying, you know what, I still need to be in my classroom. I still need to get that as much of a traditional setting as possible. So I'm very proud of our teachers, and as far as 50% or even higher involvement rate, you know, initially for the vaccine. And, you know, I think it just says a lot about our staff, you know. And regarding the food situation, Chuck, you know, part of me feels like, you know, people are inconvenienced because of the long traffic, so be it. That's the nature of the beast. You know, that is what the public awareness should be. And yet, you know, I understand the safety nature of it. So we need to, you know, maybe look at alternate location. You know, so Chuck, I Godspeed with you on that. And last but not least, you know, I've talked to so many, the word got out so fast about Tim retiring, and I've had a number of phone calls from parents and staff, and, you know, and the message was very clear. And that was, you know, they're sad that Tim is retiring, but everyone was worried about not having drastic changes, you know, and that's the whole thing about hiring from within, is that people have that sense of confidence and sense of stability. And so I'm glad you know, if we are going to have this, we're doing it at this district with this team of administrators, with this team of teachers and classified, you know. So changing transition is one of the largest, biggest things that any district can do. And I'm sure this district like we've been doing for the last 10 years. We're going to do the best possible job at it, so let's continue that work. Having said that, Melissa, I really hope you accept the offer. That's it from me.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Mr. Andrew Sandoval?
Yes, good evening. Well, I had the opportunity to visit Bolsa Knowles during their last distribution, and they were provided with all kinds of goodies like a scientific calculator, candy, which I didn't catch her name, but handed out and said the students didn't have to share. So I thought that was kind of cool. I had an opportunity to see Ms. Vaughn, Ms. Torres, Mr. Carrillo, Mrs. Spencer. The kids really love seeing Mr. Carrillo and Mr. Stockdale, mostly because he likes to tease them about their sports teams. But I think on a side note, he probably should reconsider his choice. But it was just great. The students were interacting. A lot of parents were asking the principal, when are we going back to school? And I know that, we're going to be working with the staff and everybody to make sure when that does happen, it's going to be safe for everybody. I also had the opportunity to participate in the New Republic bingo night. They had over 135 people log on to Zoom. It was probably a couple hundred who were participating. And they gave away some big screen TVs, electric scooters, gift cards. It was, they have a great team over there. I really wish we could just replicate them across our district because they have so much parent participation. They had a great MC. I believe her name was Mrs. Green. It was great to see the principal on there, and it was inspirational. And like I said, in the future, I hope we can as a district, I don't know, just slice them in half and replicate them, because I think they're doing an excellent job with parent participation, especially creative solutions during distance learning. And then Amy's not here, but I appreciate all her help getting me signed up for all the district trainings and all her responsiveness in the districts. Great job with what I'm hoping will be a great influx of district transfers. I know I've been contacted that people want to come to our district, so I appreciate the district staff helping them. And I say, well, just call the district, and they're like, okay, and they're grateful at the way to do it online as well. So that's been really easy. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sarah Turner?
Thank you. I just, on a personal note, I want to say thank you to Tim and to the board members. A lot of you guys know that my brother was hit by a drunk driver on Thursday when he was coming home from work. And he's home now, and he's in excellent spirits, and is joking that this was not the way that he wanted a vacation. So we're doing okay, but I really appreciated when I called Tim and just said, hey, I don't know what my availability is going to be in the next couple of weeks. Tim was like, take care of your family, don't worry about it. So thank you for that flexibility. And then I wanted to ask if it's possible, once we get to February 17th and people over 65 and 93906 are eligible for the vaccine, that we can let our families know and just get that information out there, because we are in such a high level zip code. So, I know the county is changing what they're doing on a daily basis. So that makes it really fun for everybody. But if we could just try to help our people to get the updated information. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and hopefully your brother recovers quickly. As far as for myself, I did attend a board training put on by Lozano Smith on how to be a better board president. It was attended by board presidents locally, which was kind of interesting. They wanted to mostly focus on board presidents and superintendents or board members from Monterey County. And the more and more I see is just learning about best practices for running meetings, and also us as a board kind of leaving a legacy behind. So slowly what I want to start doing is the way we do business or the way we operate as a board, starting to put that in writing and creating those policies. So that way, 20 years down the line, we have a great district even long before a lot of us are gone. and kind of leaving that positive thing there. I'm also attending an AB 1234 ethics training tomorrow. And I also wanted to ask the board members, just to confirm if you guys do also get the trainings for the Lozano Smith and the CSBA. Are you guys getting those emails? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Andrew, are you getting those as well?
Yes, I just recently signed up.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just encourage all the board members to take advantage of those trainings. Even myself as a business owner, I'm always going to trainings, finding ways to improve ourselves as a governance team. That'll also help further support our district and staff and whatnot as well. Besides that, that's the only thing I have to report. And so, Tim, you want to do the superintendent's report?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just mention one more thing?
Sure.
I did have a chance to meet with teachers union, and I also attended a meeting, get to know board members and a teacher union. And one of the exciting ideas that came out of that, and that Ms. Stover was going to work on, is creating a buddy system for board members and school sites. So I just wanted to say I'm excited at that future collaboration, and that we'll have a buddy at each site so we can become more familiar with the different school sites and keep more informed. So thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you everyone for the support over these last 4 years, actually. And I remember 2 years ago when we went to our retreat out at the golf course, which those were the good old days when we could actually leave and meet together and talk together in person. I just remember telling you at that time, there was one thing that really I wanted to focus on, and that was making sure there was a clear order of succession, and we needed to have an assistant superintendent. And I told you who I wanted, because I thought at that time, and I still believe it today, that was the best choice that I've probably made, the best decision I probably made in the whole time I've been here. Melissa and I have spent a lot of hours just talking about, leadership. And the one thing I always stressed was that nothing was going to work if relationships didn't work. Positive relationships, I always say, positive relationships lead to positive results. And when I talked to the teachers, I told them that we were never going to get anywhere until we were not, different groups, until we weren't like teachers union and admin and the district office. We had to all get in the same room. We had to be in one family. We couldn't be spread out like that. And that's the main thing I focused on over the last 2 years. And really, Melissa has run the educational side of this district for the last 2 years. That's why she got the position, because that was her strength, was the educational programs. And so, you did good. You got I believe you got the best assistant superintendent, in the county to be your superintendent. And you're not going to find somebody that has better relationships with the people in this district than Melissa Alderman. And I'm proud of her. I told her the other day how proud I was of her. She's grown so much in that position, and she's ready. And really the whole 2 years, I told her the other day, she came in, she goes, "How you doing?" I said, "It feels weird. I'm facilitating my own obsolescence." So she laughed, but it was my point all along to get things ready for when this day eventually did come. I didn't know that it was going to come quite so early, but it's all here. Everything's here. These people you see in front of you. This is what this is the 2 years that I'm the most proud of. The people, the relationships, and the people that I leave here and leave this district in their more than capable hands. We just kept adding pieces, and it just kept falling into place. We got Nadine early on. Chuck was already here when I got here, and Melissa, and then we added, Rosa and Victor and Becky, and here we are. You got a great team. This district is in great hands, and I'm really proud of all of them. So Yeah, so thanks. I appreciate everything. I love these guys. I love this district, and I'm a phone call away. So.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Moving on to public comment. We did get one public comment, but I feel it was kind of associated with another agenda item having to do with the vote. So I'm just going to read that comment once we get to that point. So move on to 5.0, no business. Move on to 7.0 and 7.1.
That's me. So this item has been forwarded from our previous meeting that had to be canceled due to some internet issues. But it is for you to consider the approval of an extension of an unpaid leave of absence for an employee from January 20th through May 28th for personal reasons.
Okay. Does the board have any questions, or can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, is there a second? So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Captain.
Aye. Did we lose Andrew?
We lost Andrew.
Okay, let me see if he's. Who has control of the Zoom, just to see if he's trying to get in?
I'm watching it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue from there. So, motion passes with 3-0.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Due to time constraints, I do have to leave the meeting early, as I mentioned earlier. Can we move 9.2 up and before 9.1?
Yes, if the rest of the board is okay with that, I'm okay with moving that as well. Oh, there is Andrew back. Is Sarah, you okay with that?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So we're going to move on to 9.2, and we'll come back to 9.1. So I know this is something I had brought up before, as far as the situation that kind of happened at the Capitol in this year. Can I get a motion to approve 9.2? And also, if we do approve, I'd like to read it. And if we can, as a board, take turns reading different sections, just so we do this united in this resolution. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Can I comment on that before?
Yeah, sure.
You know, it dawned on me today as I was watching the Senate trial, if you will, of our former president, and they were showing videos of what happened on that day on January 6th. And I still remember the fact that here were elected officials being threatened and possibly overturning our Constitution. You know, I've never, ever thought I would ever see a day like that in my lifetime. And I think it is very important that every single elected official lives up to the oath that they've taken. And that is the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States from all threats, foreign and within. And so when I saw this, I think it's duty that to reaffirm our commitment to democracy, especially as the most basic form of citizenry, which is educating our young in order to become productive citizens, that as a school district, we elected officials have a major role in making sure that we stand up for the freedoms and the rights that have been bestowed upon us through the Constitution and by the Constitution. So having said that, you know, I'm very pleased that we have this proclamation or board resolution, if you will, reaffirming the oath that all elected officials have taken and us individually, and that we stand together as a school board, as a county, as a city, as a state, and as a nation. We are a country of laws. We are a country based on a constitution. And so whether, you know, whatever your feelings were about that day, I can understand. However, the idea that our capital, our government was possibly being taken over, I think is, you know, one of the greatest threats our Constitution has ever faced. You know, I often think about threats that approach our country. Never in my wildest dreams would I think that we would have threats from within. You know, so we need to reaffirm our oath as taken. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patel. Any other comments? No. Can I get a motion to approve 9.2?
I motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Second?
I second.
Okay. Second by
Thought Mr. Patel was going to.
okay.
No, I'm thankful for the support from the board.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. Okay, motion
Aye.
is 4-0. So I'm gonna start off by reading it, and then from there I'll have Sarah, and then Mr. Patel, and then Andrew, and then we'll kind of go from there. So everybody's okay with that? Okay. The Santa Rita Union School District resolution condemning the violent actions of our nation's capital on January 6, 2021. Board Resolution 21.01.01. Whereas the Santa Rita Union School District believes that the public schools are essential for the cultivation of democratic principles, promotion of equitable conditions, and the practice of peaceful discourse to ensure that racism, bigotry, and hatred have no place in American society. And whereas our nation grapples with the harsh realities of racism and hatred, which has manifested itself in the protest and civil unrest over the past several years, and whereas the board believes that the path to ending this violence begins with the understanding the history of societal inequities and prejudice that have and continue to plague our society. And
Whereas on January 6, 2021, we witnessed an assault on our nation's capital by a seditious mob, resulting in destruction, violence, and death. And whereas the insurrection was a failed attempt intended to overthrow the results of the 2020 presidential election and the will of American voters. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives impeached President Donald Trump for inciting the violent, seditious actions leading to the unlawful occupation of our nation's capital, which placed our republic in danger and tore at the very fabric of our democratic foundations. You guys would then continue.
Okay. Now, therefore, be it resolved and ordered, the extreme ideologies embodied in these illegal actions undertaken at the nation's capital deserve no place in our country, states, or local communities. And be it further resolved and ordered that we do solemnly pledge to endeavor to bring healing to the pain and anguish that these profound divisions have created. And to that end, the board commits to promoting opportunities to engage our community in open and respectful and courageous conversations. Be it further resolved and ordered that the board affirms that the Santa Rita Union School District shall foster student learning of and participation in peaceful expressions of speech guaranteed within the First Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Be it further resolved and ordered that the board condemns in the strongest possible language any assault on our Constitution for any reasons or reasons whatsoever. And be it further resolved and ordered that each governing board member of the Santa Rita Union School District does hereby reaffirm its sacred oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Therefore, this resolution is passed and adopted by the board of the Santa Rita Union School District, Salinas, California, at a public meeting thereof duly called and held on February 10th, 2021.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Patel, for putting that forward as well.
Thank you. As stated earlier, I do have to leave early, so I apologize to the rest of the board members and to everyone listening. But I did want to make a quick comment on 9.1 before I left. Is that okay, Mr. President?
Yes.
On 9.1, I totally support Mr. Kong. He is an educator. He is a very well community organizer. He's been a teacher. And number one, I think you do a great job in representing us for the CSBA. Regarding term limits, which is 9.3, I'm okay with the 3-year term limit. I think any president, as long, we need to give people in leadership positions time to create change or time to create growth. So I'm in favor of 3 years if possible. And that's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Melissa. And Tim, I'm never going to agree to anything, Tim. I'm letting you know right now. You ain't going nowhere. I'll catch you guys later.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Ms. Patel. Okay. So moving back to 9.1, there was a public comment submitted. So I'm going to read the letter that was submitted. This is to the Santa Rita School District Board of Trustees from David Kong, CSBA Region 9B Delegate to the CSBA State Delegate Assembly. Dear board members, my name is David Kong. I am your current representative to the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly. The delegate's role is to inform the organization and then to vote on the direction of the organization. The staff will create policies which go to local school boards to review and adopt if they choose. I also fill out CSBA surveys on occasions that come from the organization. They receive direction from the delegate assembly on what the important issues to work on. I'm running for re-election this year to represent all school boards in the Monterey County at a delegate assembly, which meets twice a year. I was born to immigrant parents and the product of the public school system. I have lived in Monterey County most of my life. My family lived in East Salinas and ran a family grocery business to provide for the food needs of the community. I have fond memories of attending and graduating from Alisal High School and Hartnell Community College. For many years, I considered Salinas as my hometown, and I am familiar with the many challenges of living in Salinas. I was second in my family to graduate from a four-year college. I have worked in education for 33 years. I spent 13 years working in the classroom, helping adults complete their high school diploma, GED, and learn basic skills at the Salinas Union High School District Adult Education Society. I spent 20 years at the Monterey County Office of Education and Technology Department, supporting MCOE and other school districts around the county with their technology needs. I now work with MCO Business and Finance Department, processing the payroll and accounts payable for all districts in Monterey County. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to paraphrase the last portion of it. During my time supporting the technology needs of MCOE Special Education, Migrant Ed, and Head Start programs in Monterey County, I have visited a number of Santa Rita school sites. As governing board member of the Greenfield Union School District, I am aware of the challenges of administrating to the needs of a large immigrant student population. Your many challenges include student and parent language barriers, families living in poverty, and poor technology infrastructure. Distance learning by your students is adding to the difficulties of students learning in the pandemic. And I believe that all our students deserve the best education that our school can offer so they can be ready to go to college or a vocational career. Our students need all the resources that we as a school board can provide them to succeed in school. I want to continue as an assembly delegate to advocate for our students and help create policies and pass legislation to support public education. COVID-19 is currently our greatest challenge. We need CSBA to work with local, state, and federal officials to safely reopen our schools and allow teachers, staff, and students to return in a safe environment. The deadline for the ballots is March 15th. I humbly ask for your support for re-election to CSBA State Delegate Assembly, David Kong. So there's two candidates. So the motion would be to approve either or. So if anybody has a motion they'd like to entertain for nominating one of the candidates.
May I make a brief comment?
Sure.
Yeah, I reviewed both applications. I think Mr. Kong has done a great job. He's very accessible and has a history of transparency and working together with everyone. I've also had interactions with Ms. Miramontes, and I respect her a lot and her work and her dedication to education. If there's I don't know if there's any other comments, but I would like to make a motion. Sarah, do you have any comments?
Just that I've had a really positive experience working with Mr. Kong on the Monterey County School Boards Association and a couple other volunteer things in the community. I don't know the other candidate, so it's just he's the only person that I know personally.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to vote for Mr. Kong.
Can I get a second?
Yeah, I second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, motion passes 3-0. So I guess, Tim, if you can forward that. I know it asked for the signature, superintendent or board clerk, so I guess Tim can sign that and forward that on. Okay. Okay, moving on to item 9.3. So I know one thing we've had a couple of different conversations about, and one of the reasons Sarah also wanted to kind of pass the baton a bit for the board president is there's been cases in the past where somebody can be board president too long, and it doesn't allow for new ideas to come along or for change to happen, and it can kind of get too much power into one person. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this forward. So the way I kind of saw the two different options would be they're doing a 2-year term or a 3-year term before they're allowed to be nominated for president again. So what I wanted to do today was kind of get a consensus of what the board feels and then take it back and have a staff draft up an actual board policy for this.
I would be in favor of the 3 years, just if we were in a situation, you know, we've had to have special elections before. If we were in a situation where we were turning over 4 seats at a time, because we'd had to have a special election and you might only end up with one person who had been on the board before. I mean, theoretically, I guess it's mathematically possible you could turn over 5 seats at a time, but that seems unlikely to me. So I thought at least with the 3 years, you might have somebody who is continuing as president because everybody else was new, but then after, you know, a year, then to have a transition, because at least somebody else would have at least a year of experience to take over from them.
Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I initially had favored the 2-year, but the 3-year does make sense.
Okay. And then as far as what should the waiting time be before that person can potentially be president again? I'm okay with the 3 years as well. I just wanted some type of term limits put in there. Would it be 1 year or 2 years?
I think 1 year would be fine. You know, we have to keep in mind that it's going to be up to the board to decide who their elected leader, and we don't want to impede in case there's that request for leadership or they want to bring somebody back. That's kind of my thought.
No, I agree. If after a year they when they have their reorganization meeting, you know, that at least you've had the opportunity for somebody else to be there and, you know.
Okay, so the consensus is term with a 1 year waiting period in between. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So Tim, if you get a chance, we'll kind of bounce off ideas to do a board policy, and then for a future board meeting, it doesn't have to be right away, but you know, within the coming months to kind of adopt this. And I'll continue to bring forward things that I think will kind of help us do business a little better, just for future stuff. Okay. Okay, moving on to 9.4, the Good Beginnings workshop. So I have been in contact with Terry, and we're set up for March 1st and 8th. The one thing I did want to clarify with her was, because originally when Sarah and I talked to her, we're looking at 5 to 7. When they sent over the contract, I noticed it was 7 to 9. So I thought that was a little bit late, and I think by then I'll myself will be burnt out to really listen. Mm-hmm. So I emailed her back and said that we needed that corrected. And then if they could send us a new contract before we move forward from there. Is there anything else you guys as the board had comment or questions as far as doing the Good Beginnings workshop or scheduling?
No, thank you for advocating for that 5 to 7 time slot. Even if we had to do 6 to 8, I think that might be workable, but 7 to 9 is a no-go.
Yeah, after 8, I'd be fried myself. So
yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So the next item is 9.5, staff spotlight discussion. I think that was brought up by Andrew at a previous board meeting. And I guess having discussion of what that would kind of look like. Do you guys have feedback as far as what you guys were thinking, either from the board or even just the directors, if they have kind of suggestions or ideas what you guys were thinking?
Well, just to reiterate my idea, we've had such great staff, and I think we need to look for an equitable way to recognize different staff members. I know, in the past we talked about our amazing district nurse, but I think in our different departments we have just such excellent staff that finding ways to nominate them, whether it be parents or fellow staff members, a mix of directors, to nominate those, and at every meeting bring somebody forward to recognize them for their dedication to our district and to our students.
So I think one thing first would be to develop, I guess, how the nominations would take place, and then how the person would be chosen, and then I guess the format and the way we would recognize them.
Yeah, they have a like a year-long thing, but they have a thing in North County where like each site at the end of the year, sort of nominates like a certificated person, a classified person, and then they have that the district office level too, and then they honor all those people at the beginning of the year. They're all listed, the different people from the different sites, but I thought we could potentially scatter it out, like, during the year in terms of just, asking different sites, like, is there a certificated person that, you'd like to recognize at the board meeting? Is there a classified person you'd like to recognize? I think people appreciate being recognized, especially if they've been put in a hard situation and sort of, triumphed over that. I had a really incredibly challenging class one year. And so when I got honored at the beginning of the next year, for like outstanding teaching, like it sort of washed away how hard that job was. And because I felt like somebody saw me, and what was happening. So just being able to do that for our staff.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome point as far as also like district morale, and also, as you said, I think being able to be seen, especially if you're being recognized and stuff. So Tim, how would we kind of go about, I guess, setting up that process or in place? Do you have
Yeah, let me get with the cabinet and we'll brainstorm and come up with this is a pretty common practice, so we should be able to put something together before the next board meeting to just, to put forward as an information item.
Okay, and then from there we can kind of tweak it as we kind of see and stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Great, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of the staff out there who's doing also amazing jobs out there for our district and our children in the community.
And this is just kind of, Nadine, just an idea that something they did in North County that people really appreciated. They don't do it anymore, but they used to have the special education staff would pick general education teachers that they wanted to honor for, their work with kids, and it was empowering both ways, that there was a different category for honoring people, who specifically had a SPED designation, but it was a way to talk about, how can we support everybody as a team? How can we talk about all being there for the kids?
Okay. Any final comments on that item?
No, just thank you, and look forward to that. And for Chuck, who I think we already got our big barbecue pit. Oh, I think he left the meeting, but hopefully
Chuck's right there. Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, yes, if it's safe, hopefully we can get Neil out there really bright and early, and we can barbecue some chicken or ribs for our staff at the end of the year. I think that would be great.
Okay. All right. So now any future board items the board would like to see, their informational items on there? No? Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. I got really excited to hear for Victor that our Family Resource Center is up and getting ready to be done. And I love, I know I had talked to Dr. Purnell over at the Ellis South School District, and she had offered to do a presentation on their program just to give us some ideas and give the board some ideas how we'd like to format that in the future. So if that could be added as an item in the future. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Sarah? No, okay. So our next future board meeting will be February 24th. Can I get a motion to adjourn at 7:35?
I motion to adjourn.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, okay, motion passes. Okay, everybody stay safe and we'll see everybody later.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.